at breakfast just before the announcement was made publicly. NewsNation's Joe Khalil continues our team coverage from the White House. So, Joe, we are expecting to hear from the president at any moment.
And when he comes out, Nicole, we imagine that he is going to blast this decision. It's something that is not going to come as a surprise, given that for weeks before this morning, he has been talking about the importance of his tariff regime and how it would be a major mistake if the Supreme Court ruled as it did, striking down most of his tariffs based on the justification the White House has been giving legally, which the Supreme Court now says doesn't make sense and is invalid. I think what's most important today, if you step back and look at the situation, big picture, is that this is not just the cornerstone of President Trump's economic agenda. It's also been the cornerstone of his foreign policy agenda. Anytime he has had these disputes with world leaders, with allies or adversaries, whether it's China, whether it's the UK or Canada or others, he has used either the threat of tariffs or actually implementing tariffs themselves temporarily and then taking them back to try to leverage the United States for foreign policy decisions. Now, that tool presumably would no longer be on the table for him now that the Supreme Court has ruled as it did. What I think we're all waiting to hear, in addition to just the president's reaction to this decision, is what is the White House's plan B? We know there is one. We've heard Caroline Leavitt say as much. We've heard Secretary Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, say that there is a sort of contingency plan if the Supreme Court came down with the decision that it did today and took the tool away from President Trump to tariff without going through Congress. And that may be just simply looking at other potential laws. This law today that the Supreme Court said was not a justification for the president to skip over Congress. It's known as IEPA. Essentially, it's an emergency act that the president can use if, again, there is a present emergency. The president has justified his tariffs with that law, saying that the trade imbalance between the United States and several of our allies is in itself an emergency, which, again, the Supreme Court today has said they don't think so. They do not agree with that. So there may be simply other laws that, again, the Treasury Secretary or President Trump's economic team can look at and say, maybe we implement tariffs that way. Could they go through Congress and do it the way that is explicitly laid out in the Constitution for this to happen? Sure, it could be seriously challenging. Obviously, the Senate is controlled by Republicans. The House is controlled by Republicans. But it would take a bigger majority than what they have now to actually pass a tariff regime. And we know there are still a couple of Republicans that are, frankly, relieved today that the Supreme Court has come down with this decision. People like Senators Rand Paul, Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins, and others celebrated the decision today, saying that effectively the power to tax belongs to Congress. And tariffs are, in their view, in the view of many Republicans, a tax. So as we wait for President Trump today here, Nicole, in just a couple of minutes, really any moment now, those are the things we're really keying in on in terms of what his reaction is going to be, what the plan moving forward is. And I think there's a lot that's going to be discussed about the impacts on the midterms in November. We know Democrats have been campaigning on the tariffs and opposition to them, talking about affordability. That's been at the key, at the sort of center of Democrats' agenda as they've headed toward the midterms. So this obviously throws a wrench in all of that. President Trump continues to push tariffs. Democrats will continue to talk about it. If tariffs are off the table, then that's a different story. So all of that certainly subject to what we hear from the president in just a couple of moments.
All right. So, Joe, you mentioned some of the reaction that we're hearing from lawmakers, specifically Republicans there, of kind of saying, that this is the correct ruling there from the Supreme Court. But has there been any public disagreement maybe to today's ruling?
Yeah, there certainly has, and it looks like President Trump
Joe, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Here is President Trump. Now let's listen to him live there from Washington.
A lot of people. That's a new record. We set a record every time. Well, thank you very much for being here. The Supreme Court's ruling on